It's Car Con Carne. I'm James Van Osel, back in the car. Car Con Carne, sponsored by SopelSolar.com. My friend Brent Sopel, he played for the Chicago Blackhawks. He helped Chicago win the Stanley Cup. He's an amazing hockey player, and he is going to help you achieve cost certainty through solar power. Get those panels on your roof. It costs nothing out of pocket to go solar, and the tax credits right now are huge, up to like 48% if you look at what both federal and local tax credits are. Get a consultation. Go to sopelsolar.com, S-O-P-E-L, solar.com, and find out how you can achieve cost certainty and know what you're going to pay for your electric every month moving forward, which is awesome. sopelsolar.com. Car Con Carne also sponsored by 90 Days in the 90s. My friend Andy Fry wrote an awesome fiction book about the music scene in Chicago in the 90s, the story, the legendary Chicago music scene of the 90s. Imagine time traveling back to that period. Literally, that's what happens in this book. Time traveling back to that period and being able to go to all those amazing shows, whether it's seeing the Pumpkins as a baby band starting out, or any of those bands. Wesley Willis knocking around Empty Bottle. That's the story. 90 Days in the 90s. Go back in time with Darby, who's the protagonist of the book. To get your signed copy of the book, go to 90daysinthe90s.com. Or if you just want a copy of the book, period, go to Amazon or wherever you buy books. 90 Days in the 90s. All right, I'm here with Kill Scenes. This is fantastic. This is long overdue. In person, we are in front of Club Belmont, 7844 West Belmont in Chicago. We'll talk about that in a second. To my immediate right, it is Meghan. To my right and behind me, it is Sean. It is Kill Scenes in the Car, the brand new record. Available now. It is Masque, and it is gorgeous on vinyl.
Look at that beautiful baby vinyl.
Look at that beautiful baby vinyl. God, I cannot wait. Like literally, the first thing I do when I get home, I'm going to upload the audio and video to my computer so I can start editing. And then as that is uploading, I'm going to put this on the turntable. I cannot wait. I've heard it, obviously, but I can't wait to hear it on vinyl. This is so cool. Thank you both for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
You.
And I want to thank Club Belmont for being hospitable and being an awesome dive bar. This is such a great neighborhood place. This is such a Chicago place,
Yes.
Isn't it?
It's a very iconic dive bar.
It is. This is right in the middle of a neighborhood. It's a house right here on Belmont. I think we're like halfway, maybe, between Harlem and Cumberland. Cool neighborhood, cool vibes when you walk in Club Belmont. Totally hospitable. They're known for, they're for being an awesome dive bar and for their pizza. We have pizza in the back seat. Sean will probably display that. Because when you're hanging out at a dive bar, drinking draft beer, you want a great pizza.
You gotta have some good pizza.
So thanks to Club Belmont for setting us up. Again, the address of Club Belmont is, did I say 7844? 7844 West Belmont. All right, Kill Scenes. Kill Scenes is a dream pop, new wave,
Yeah.
gothic pop.
What are we, Sean?
The
Really,
thing is,
what are we?
I hate every word, but you have to use words. So we're all of those things. We're all of them and none of them. It's the genre classification thing is like such a mind screw. Are we allowed to cuss?
Are you new? Yeah,
It's a mind fuck.
It's a mind fuck.
But yeah, I mean, I think all those things kind of sort of start to get at the pie that the pizza pie of what Kill Scenes is.
Way to tie it together.
Yeah, there we go.
Way to use pizza as metaphor for what Kill Scene does.
It's true.
Kill Scenes does.
Goth is the cheese.
Here's the thing. Who needs press when you have descriptions like this? Kill Scenes coils minimalism and grandeur with a Lynchian interrogation of identity, power, possession, transformation, and destruction. What's the point of me talking about this stuff?
I just have to give credit where credit's due. My partner, Robert Kloss, wrote that description.
Nailed it.
He's a writer.
Clearly. All right, Sean, let's eat pizza.
Oh, yeah.
I did bring, full disclaimer, Meghan is vegan, so I brought her some vegan delights to enjoy. I didn't want her to feel left out. Because I was vegetarian. I was not vegan. I was vegetarian for a long time. And I remember being in those social situations where everyone was eating except for me because there wasn't food that fit what I ate. And I know that feeling. It's awful.
I've been a vegan for a long time, and I've been various kinds of vegan, various extremities of vegan, so I'm used to it, and it's, yeah. You're always at the bottom, as I said, of somebody's virtue spectrum.
I don't know about any virtue spectrum, but what I know is I got a beautiful pizza pie back here.
Thank
you.
This is
Smell really
gorgeous.
good.
It smells amazing. All right, can you send me up with a plate?
I sure can.
Send some of that cheese pizza. You can do
So-
cheese, pepperoni, or sausage at Club Belmont.
I've got a plate here for you. I don't know
Thank
if
you.
you want me to put my paws on
I
this.
don't care.
Okay.
We're sitting in
they're
a
washed.
car.
They're
All bets
clean.
are off. Okay.
There we are.
Thank you. And thank you, Club Belmont. Cheese pizza, an appropriate amount of grease, which makes it delicious.
That is
man.
a very, very classic cheese pizza plate situation.
Oh, totally. Totally. So, we'll talk about kill scenes. When Sean reached out to me to talk about the new album, he's like, "Hey, this new album's ready. I think you're gonna like it." He was right. He described you, Meghan, and said she. I hope I'm not saying anything I shouldn't.
No.
He said she does a lot of crazy witchy stuff in addition to her always gorgeous pop vocals. Is witchy okay?
Yeah, that sounds flatteringly accurate.
But the vocals are fantastic on this. I think we hear a lot of range. Tell me, Sean, Meghan was there with you in the beginning. She wasn't there in the middle, and now she's back.
Yeah. So it's a very simple story. Meghan came in to do the thing with me in the beginning. She's got her gorgeous vocals. I had this idea for this band. I met her at a party. There was karaoke going around. I heard her sing. I wanted to make music with her, and we did it. We made what I consider a pretty good album, and just wanted to keep it going. But like life comes in, things pull you in different directions. Meghan had to move away basically for a while. I don't know. You could talk more about that if you want, but
Yeah, it's a very Cliff Notes version. It's funny, you keep referring to it as a party. I don't remember it being a party, but I do remember that there were multiple Kate Bush songs, and I do remember that I came there thinking that we were going there for my friend Scott to record some stuff for an album that he was working on, and I think I ended up feeling like we were the only two people in the room, even though there were other people in the room. And when you asked me to be part of the band, I remembered that immediately, and I was very excited.
and I was really, because I was kind of ready for the shoot down. Because I'd been preparing some tracks, and I'd had Meghan in mind for them, and I was I gotta ask this awesome vocalist if she wants to be a part of this project, and I was so ready to just be like, oh no, it's not what I am into or whatever, and she was so enthusiastic when she got back to me about it that I was like, boom. So we made an album.
Yeah, the first night we got together, it was kind of, you sent that message. I really enthusiastically said yes. Very soon after you sent that, we got together. We went to a bar, we had a couple drinks, and we enthused, and we went back to your apartment, and we recorded our first track.
Yep. Just like that, and it was magical.
So, Sean, when you wrote these songs, did you have in your head? Did you hear female vocals when you wrote these songs?
Oh yeah, and that's kind of a thing that it's kind of why this album took so long to make, was because I was like waiting for Meghan to come back, which was sort of a thing I didn't know was actually going to happen. So I went off. Are you going to blush? I'd made a couple of records without Meghan, but just because it was a necessity. I had to keep making music, and she'd gone her way, and I'd gone my way, and it was like there was no. There's always these stories of like why people split up. There's never been any of that in kill scenes. Like people live their lives and they go here, they go there. But after Meghan kind of took off, moved to Ohio for a while, and then to Pennsylvania for a while, I kind of just had to keep going on my own. I had a body of work that I wanted to expand on, and I got her blessing on it. It was one of the first emails I sent. I was like, hey, would you mind if I kept using the name, whatever? And she was totally cool with it. But I couldn't really get back to what I wanted to get back to. And this Masque record was like, it was 3 attempts at it. I started writing it, and then I had to stop. And then I started writing it again, and I had to stop. And then when Meghan came back and said, hey, listen, I'm back in Chicago. I'd be down to do some music if you're interested. It was like, oh my God, I can do this record now. So yes, very much it was not just somebody else's voice in my head. It was specifically Meghan.
It's funny, too, because when I messaged you when I was back in Chicago, I was kind of coming at it from the perspective of, hey, I'm moving back. I could maybe do backup vocals on a track or two if you feel like having me. That would be cool. And then you came to me with this whole album.
It was like, no, you're gonna sing this record. Just look what you've gotten yourself into.
And the result is awesome. Again, Masque. I think the range. Meghan has quite a range. You have quite a range. I hate talking about you like you're third person, or you're not in the car. I think I hear the range most on the Chrysalis. I think that's one of the standout tracks.
Interesting.
For your voice.
I love that song.
I love that song.
It is a good song.
That's my girlfriend's favorite song on the album. She will.
Well, I feel like there are a lot of layers to that song. I feel like Kill Scenes, specifically on this record, almost recorded an album intentionally for listening through headphones or earbuds.
Oh yeah.
Just all those cool layers and things going on. Like the production is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm like I listen to it on different things just to hear how it sounds, and like it sounds great. This is my I made it, so I feel like it sounds great. But I'm horrified that there are little details that people aren't hearing if they're not listening to it specifically in headphones. It's like such a sadness to me. Like, oh, it sounds good, but they don't hear this. They don't hear when I pan this whisper over here, or there's a lot
going on.
Oh yeah.
Well, and the album opens with the title track, Masque, which almost sounds like a warped record or warped sound kind of playing, and then you get the fullness of the production kicking in. You realize how dense and layered and powerful this production is. How much did this take you a long time to put together?
Oh, I mean, yeah. The album in total, like I said, it was 3 attempts, and I made 2 albums in the middle of trying to make this one record. So this record's been in my head since 2015, or at least some version of it has been in my head since 2015. And I don't want to get. Basically, there was like a song, which was the first song. There was an image, and there was a video that was all in my head. And
which you just made, by the
way. I did just make the video for it. But I couldn't get there with it. There was like a piece missing that I couldn't. I've already given it away. It was Meghan was the missing piece for this.
I don't know if I was the entirety of the piece, but
you were a big chunk. You were a big chunk of the piece. But I made a couple of records just because they were things that, like, energy shifts here and there. The way I want to write shifts here and there. And I'd had an idea for Masque that I couldn't finish. And for whatever reason, I couldn't finish it. And I tried 3 different times to finish it. And when Meghan came back, that was the time. It was like, okay, now I feel like I have all the pieces in place that I need to do this album. So you could say it took... Sorry, it's pizza. It's very good pizza, by the way.
It is
Club
pizza.
Belmont.
Club Belmont.
Making some real damn good pizza.
This is great bar pizza.
It reminds me of Rockets in Bloomington.
It's got that same kind of vibe. Yeah. Smaller slices, which I like because they're more manageable.
They are, especially at a bar. Like, you don't want to wrestle with like droopy pizza points.
You're going to be able to shove it in. It absorbs.
Like pressure points.
Exactly.
Points of pizza.
As we were sitting inside Club Belmont, we were talking about the album, which is, I should have waited for the interview, but we talked about the idea of concept albums. And you both kind of said that this is a concept album. And lyrically, I mean, I hear perhaps a journey to self-awareness and self-actualization, some relationship trials and tribulations, perhaps.
Oh gosh, it's probably a very it's probably a very different thing for both of us. I'd gone through 2 divorces by the time I came back here and recorded this album with him, so there's definitely something of that in there for me.
Well, you say I wrote it, but to be honest, you wrote most of 2 of the songs and edited the lyrics on a lot of them.
You conceptualized the concept album.
Right. But I like that it's a different thing like in you than it is in me, and that's kind of part of what the record is about. The record is kind of about like modular consciousness or like identity shifting. So the idea that it would come from me and be one thing in a writer and another thing in a performer / writer, and that we both have our different ideas of it, but the listener's hearing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of important to me.
Well, let's talk about The Return specifically. It's a down-tempo song. If this life is just a story, I wonder when you'll turn the page. If our love is like the ocean, I never want to crash the wave. It just sounds like this is like that moment in the movie soundtrack where the protagonist is taking inventory of everything that's come before and what happens next. In fact, I think a lot of what you record sounds like it could be like soundtrack type material.
That's kind of
The band was originally like conceived of as a kind of a conceptual movie soundtrack.
That's kind of what we're getting back to with this record too. The first album was very much supposed to be like a soundtrack to an imaginary film, and kind of went away from that for a minute, just like
For minute being 10
a minute
years.
being 10 years, and then I've come back to it now, and it feels so good. That song in particular, though, yeah, that's it's gonna be the corny like, yeah, I wrote that for my girlfriend, but it was also inspired by a lot of things.
I thought it was namely Twin Peaks.
It was a Twin Peaks reference, and it was also a Good Place reference, which
interesting. I
don't know if
very little
anybody
of
has
that.
seen the show The Good Place, but it's a fantastic sitcom. And there's this whole thing where the last episode just burns me up because they're going on this whole spiritual journey, and the last episode is just about them letting go and dissolving into the void after all they've been through. And like, I like that conceptually, but when you see it on screen, I hated it because I'm like, no, I want them to keep going and being with each other and loving each other. And it's this sort of thing of attachment that I am obviously not enlightened enough to be over yet. And in my mind, it's a very romantic feeling, and it's how I feel a lot. Like, no, like I'm very much attached to the things I love. But if the whole idea is to sort of detach from the things that keep you in this sort of worldly hell, I can't do it because I love people too much, and that's kind of a hard thing. I feel like that's kind of a crazy sounding answer, but that's kind of what that song is about.
I love you, Sean.
I love you, James.
I shared, I think it was to my personal Facebook a day or two ago, I shared Whispers. This song just feels big to me. Like, this has such a massive hook. Like, if there were a single to point to, I feel like this is a single from the album, from Masque.
That's been debatable. I thought so,
we all
too.
have our different interpretations, I think, on what the single is, but I think that's an interesting choice.
In my mind,
We've been performing it live.
We have. In my mind, that was like the second single. Like, I thought Acid Black Window would be one, and then Whispers would be number two, because that guitar hook, I'm very proud of that hook. I feel like it sounds...
It's a big hook.
It's a big hook. And that's kind of thing. I hear him like, oh, damn, like that. If this doesn't get people, what the hell will? Well, in the minds of Meghan, it would be Phantom Dark, or not Phantom Dark. What's the one you like?
The penultimate one, the final act.
Final act,
But
that's
it's
the
not
one.
the final act. It's the
The
semi-final
penultimate
act.
act. That's what it should be called if we're being accurate.
Second to final act.
You mentioned Acid Black Window. I love the build on this, and when the guitars go slashing in, like, it's just a great musical moment. Like,
Hell yeah.
Just structurally, I love the way this song kind of builds and moves forward.
Thank you.
So yeah, fair game for a single, for
Yeah,
sure.
thank you.
We just shot a video for that one.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, which we're very excited about.
Well, we're we shot part one of maybe three parts of the video for that.
we shot I think what will be 80% of the video.
Yeah.
And then we're doing another pickup with
There are layers.
a really cool production company called Odd Commodity, which they're friends of ours. They do great work.
The female component of it was my best friend from 6th grade on, and
Love it.
we still live in Oak Park together, and we still hang out as frequently as adults in their late 30s hang out.
For sure. Well, I mean, to the point of this music is soundtrack music, basically. There's a definite visual feel to what you do. So I've got to think making videos is an exciting part of the creative process for you.
there's a video for every song, and in my head, and there's never
There
a video
probably has been for like a decade.
for a decade. But there's never a video for every song because time and life in the world. So there's a certain point. I don't remember who ever said. There's a famous quote: "Art is never finished; it's only abandoned." I don't know who said that. I wish I had.
That's a great one.
But that's kind of how it feels. Like, yeah, in my mind, this whole album is a movie, and every song has its own video, and they all tie together in a narrative way. It will never. It's kind of beautiful that it will never all see the light of day, and that the most complete version of what you're going to get is going to be this album that leaves a lot open to interpretation. But yes, making videos is fun when I have time to do it. I just don't always have time to do it.
Again, the new album is Masque. Now, if you listen to it digitally, and I encourage buying vinyl because it's just awesome. If you buy it digitally or listen to it digitally, there's a cover of Billy Idol's Eyes Without a Face. Is that in French?
It is. I did the translation with the, with a combination of my college French and having a girlfriend in Montreal, 18 years ago, and Google Translate a little bit for
I love it.
things that rhyme.
I mean, and the secret, it's been said over and over by people smarter than me, but the secret to a good cover is making it your own. By turning it into something French and very kill scenes, I mean, you kind of took ownership of Eyes Without a Face. I love it.
The secret is also the original lyrics being strange enough that it kind of doesn't matter what you translate them into.
Fair.
That whole rant that in the middle, where when Billy Idol's doing it, it's like, what the hell is he on about? Like, this
Steal a
song,
car, go to Las
exactly.
Vegas.
What the hell is he talking about? And then Megan's doing, I'm like, well, now I really don't know what the hell she's talking about because I don't understand French as much as I am a burgeoning Francophile. I don't really get the language. It just sounds nice to me. So when I'm hearing her say these things, like, what? I don't know what Megan's saying. And frankly, I don't.
You don't need
at this
to.
point, I don't need to know. I don't need to know. You've done an amazing thing with that.
Yeah, I feel like just having it as a bonus track isn't enough. Like, there's something to do with that song. I don't know what it is, but I want people to hear that. It's
Sean
really...
has kind of a vision for the two bonus tracks too, though. They're almost like the afterlife of the album in a way.
I have this very stupid thing that I wanted to.
It's not stupid.
I wanted to release. No, it's kind of stupid. I wanted to release the album in two forms. So the vinyl format is like, that's the theatrical cut. That's like the album, fat trimmed, songs 1 through 10. You're boom, boom, boom. You're having a cinematic experience, and it ends where it ends. And then I had this idea of a director's cut, which would involve Masque 2, which is sort of the acoustic companion to the opening track.
It almost sounds like Masque 1 and some sort of audio tornado.
Yeah.
Or like it's being sucked away.
Slightly different lyrics, and it's kind of in this weird thing where it doesn't sound like a finished song, and that's kind of what I liked about it. It's all weird, and yeah, audio tornado. That's beautiful, Megan.
It is beautiful.
And then Eyes Without a Face fits in a different way. In my mind, there was like a couple of sort of like narrative side streets you could take with this album that would make it like an extended kind of director's cut, where like for people who really wanted, what's going on? What's really going on here? They could go down those little side streets. But in the end, we just decided, let's just make them bonus tracks and put them on the digital and not confuse people.
All right, 2 important things to bring up. Sean, can you give me another slice of pizza?
Oh, absolutely.
From Club Belmont? Thank you.
Sure. This is the best one. I've been surveying. That one's the best of all of them.
And if there's any doubt that Megan's the most wholesome person in the car, she's eating Juji fruits as we're sitting here.
I have some doubts about that personally.
I don't want to make any assumptions about anyone else in the car, but I think it's safe to say that I'm the least wholesome.
I can vouch for this. Megan's the least
I love
wholesome.
candy. I fucking love candy.
Recently, we were talking to some friends about I'd referred to Megan before as my superpower because there are things I can't do musically, and it's not to say that like just plug Meghan in and she does them. Like Meghan brings her own thing to all of this, but like there are things I cannot do musically.
I see myself more as a demon that possesses you, or maybe it's the other way around.
I don't know what it is. I
know.
think of it more as it's like allowing myself to have like the voice of a god or something that I don't actually have. But they asked what does Meghan bring that you can't bring, and my answer was I think I'd blush if I told you what those things were.
And I would like for you to articulate that.
Would you?
I don't want to articulate it personally because I will blush. There are just spaces I don't feel comfortable occupying as a performer or as a singer.
It's the sex appeal. It's the sex appeal, everybody. Juji fruits.
That's
Juji
it.
Fruits, the sexiest candy.
Nothing hotter than Juji fruits.
Nothing hotter.
The candy that kind of gets stuck on your teeth and you can never.
And what's hotter than something getting stuck in your teeth and you have to really work your tongue to get it off?
All right. Here we are. Now I am blushing.
Kill Scenes. The new album is Masque.
Kill Scenes and Juji Fruits. We're not sponsored by Juji Fruits yet. But
Yet.
we could be.
Yet.
I think that was it. I think you nailed it.
This is the opening salvo in the drive to get Juji Fruits to sponsor a tour. Love the new album. So I guess the next question, the first thing I had to bring up was the pizza. The second thing, what's next? Do we get to see you live this year?
Yeah.
Well, you will get to see us live at the Golden Dagger on November 27th.
I'm nervous about the show because I will have been feasting. And
Are you worried about rock and roll pounds?
You'll have
yes,
been
I am
feasting
a
a
little
couple
bit.
days ago, though. Unless you're planning like a Thanksgiving Bacchanalia.
I got to get on that stationary bike and just go for it in those 2 days.
But in
Just go
Chicago,
for it.
I mean, as of like October, all bets are off for like 3 months, right? I mean,
That's true.
everyone eats like an asshole until after New Year's.
Everyone eats like an asshole forever, always, all the time.
Welcome to the Midwest.
Yeah. We are also, I think, potentially doing a live stream with Q4 on the 26th, which is like not
Long overdue.
It's not amazingly 100% solid, but it's like 99%
Cool.
solid. So that's the next opportunity to see.
And we have other potential things in the works that are maybe a little more foggy than that, but those are the
two most solid.
yeah.
Well, and that leads to the segue. So where can we find out more? Facebook page, Instagram.
I would encourage both. We're on all the big streamers. You know, if you use Spotify, that's great. If you boycott Spotify, that's also fine. You can use Apple Music. If you boycott Apple Music, that's also fine. You can find us on Amazon. If you boycott Amazon, you should definitely go to our Bandcamp page, killscenes.bandcamp.com. You can download our entire discography. You can buy the new album on vinyl or digital. It is there. It is there for you. We're everywhere. We are also on Facebook, so you can see our rant, and Instagram too. Probably Instagram is our most
Sure.
updated. I tried to start a Kill Scenes TikTok, but it was just I couldn't get there with it. My brain exploded in like 3 seconds.
That's when we need a younger millennial to be.
I hate admitting that I'm at that point where it's like I need somebody with a crazy future brain that I don't have yet.
Kill Scenes social media intern. It'll be one of my undergrad students.
Perfect. That's great. I'm with you. There's no Car Con Carne TikTok. Like I've got my hands full. It's too much. I can't.
Yeah, how do you do it?
You can't.
You get on there and it is really just like, man.
Well, get an undergrad student from Meghan.
There we go.
Get that pipeline going.
Yeah, whenever I go on TikTok, I feel like that scene in the David Cronenberg movie Scanners where the
God.
guy's on the stage and he's like looking at him and like scanning him and his head explodes. Something like that.
Epic moment. Epic moment in
Yes.
cinema. I love all that stuff. All right,
That's TikTok.
Meghan, Sean, Kill Scenes. Thank you for doing this. I'm glad we could do this in person. I'm glad we could do it at Club Belmont. Thank you to Club Belmont for their hospitality. Not only for the pizza, they gave us some loaner microphones for tonight.
Yes.
Because someone, not naming names, brought the wrong bag tonight.
Uh-oh.
It was me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
boy.
love the new album. I really do. And Sean, I think the last time we sat down, which was virtual, I asked you the question, and I guess that's how we'll close. Were you born in the wrong decade?
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't think anybody knows when I was born. I don't really even know when I was born anymore. 83. That's the year I was born. I'm letting everybody know. The hit song when I was born was "Every Breath You Take" by The Police. Use that. Use that.
Fair.
Okay.
All right. Thank you to Simple Solar for sponsoring. Also, 90 Days in the 90s. Kill Scenes. Love you both. Love the album. Love the band. Thank you for doing this.
Love you, James. Thank you.
Love you, James.